All right, what's up, guys? Max Finn here, and super excited for today's session. I know you have tons of amazing, brilliant people that you're sitting into these online sessions from, and I'm very blessed and grateful that Ezra has asked me to be part of this. You know, Ezra is the he likes to not take credit for this. I always kind of give him shouts and stuff, and he's always like, "Dude, it was all you." But he was the first guy to give me a shot. Ezra Firestone was the very first big name person that invited me to speak on a stage about almost 3 years ago at his Ecom All Stars event in Austin, Texas. The first stage I ever spoke on in front of like 600 people. I was terrified, and since then the rest is history. And he's continued to give me amazing opportunity after amazing opportunity. So I was more than happy to say yes when he asked if I wanted to speak to all of you and share some cool stuff. So that's what we're gonna do today. All right. So hopefully you're excited to learn some cool stuff. And I can promise you on this session, we're going to talk about some stuff that you're not seeing every day, right? They're not cookie cutter strategies. They're not strategies that you're probably hearing about in other places. Because the reality is, the days of sending cold traffic, right? Ice cold traffic. And I usually have better props here, but I wasn't prepared with props. You know, ice cold traffic over here to landing pages and offers over here, and expecting that I do have this prop, expecting that you're going to make money, right? And don't worry, I'm not showing off money. This is fake movie prop money, right? I'm not going to have thousands of dollars sitting in my desk. Those days are few and far between, right? They're not totally over, but they're pretty close to over. So today, what we're going to talk about is, well, how do we deal with that, right? What are we doing now to play the future, right? To look at, hey, what does the future look like, and how can we best position our brands, our clients, our internal offers for success in the future? Because we're not going to be playing in the past. And I'm going to show you some examples of companies that played in the past or played in the present, and I think you'll recognize a few of them. So let's dive in. I'm going to hit that share screen button, and you're going to stop seeing me, right? So I'm going to be gone. You're not going to see my face or my awesome unicorn shirt for the rest of the day, but I will be here in voice. Okay, let's do this. All right, let's hit that play button. Boom, there we go. Okay. The death of cold traffic and the rise of interactive content. Very sexy title, I know. Perry Belcher gave me a lot of crap for this at War Room when I gave this. He's like, dude, cold traffic's not dead. He's like, maybe it's terminally ill. And I said, okay, that's not as cool of a title, but so we can do the death of cold traffic and rise of interactive content, or the slow death and terminal illness of cold traffic, the Perry Belcher title. So either one, you guys pick and choose what you want to go for. So now, before we get started, and I know I'm not on the stage. I know you can't see me. I can't see you. But I want to do is ask you, and you can raise your hand. You can nod your head. Get a little interactive. Get some blood flowing and everything. Who here has bought something from Blockbuster Videos at some point in their life? Who here has rented a video, a VHS, a DVD? Maybe you bought some Twizzlers. Maybe you bought some popcorn from Blockbuster. Okay, I'm imagining all of you in a room raising your hands, because we've all purchase things from Blockbuster in our lives, right? I used to be a big Blockbuster customer. I had that membership card. It was terrible. It was like really awful laminate, and it was like a little movie ticket card. But we loved Blockbuster. It was great at the time. I'm a big movie buff. My wife and I love movies, and so we used to rent from Blockbuster all the time, and we'd always forget to rewind it and get charged a fee. Now, the second question is, who here is a Netflix customer? Now, again, can't see it. We're playing the honor system, but I'd imagine that pretty much all of you are also raising your hands that you're a Netflix customer, okay? I am too. I'm raising my hand right now. I'm a Netflix customer. I love Netflix. I think they are a brilliant, innovative company, and they put out incredible content. And more importantly, they take massive risks. Netflix is a company that's made so many just monumental moves and strategy shifts and business plan shifts over the years. So let's look at this quote over here, okay? So we have this quote right here from Blockbuster CEO Jim Keyes in 2008. So this is about 11 years ago, so not that long ago. Neither Redbox nor Netflix are even on the radar screens in terms of competition. It's more Walmart and Apple. And then we see below the video rental chain filed for bankruptcy in 2010. Today, Netflix is worth more than $61 billion. It's actually worth a lot more than that from when this quote was published. So think about that. You have a CEO of a major company that's the market leader, and they're not even taking Netflix seriously in 2008. Not even on the radar screen. How do you make that mistake? Look at the other companies on this screen. Kodak, Polaroid, Radio Shack, Xerox, Circuit City, Tower Records. Every single one of these companies, every single one of them, at some point in time was the king of the mountain. They were at the top of the hill. And the CEO and board of directors of these companies probably thought, we can do anything. We are the juggernaut. We are the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and nobody can touch us. We're not going to look behind us, and we're not going to look ahead of us. We're going to be, this is where we are, this is what we've done to be successful, and we're going to keep doing it. All right. This is a very, very, very dangerous mindset, is to rest on your laurels, to expect that because you've done X, Y, and Z every day for the last 5 years and you've gotten to the successful place, that it's going to keep working. That strategy will continue to work every day, every week, every month, every year from now on. Just not how it works, right? We have things like Moore's Law now, where it's just, hey, every few years, like things are innovating and changing, and technology is growing so fast, it's doubling, right? We're in this innovation freeway, this speedway where things are changing so fast. And so for everyone here, cold trafficked offer page is the analogy, right? So the analogy of like, hey, this is the stuff that is working for us. We've made a lot of money with it. I'm sure some of you watching this right now, you've made maybe tens of millions, maybe even more over the years with the strategy of, hey, cold traffic from Facebook and Google to an offer page and just collecting your CPA, collecting your CPL. And that's totally fine. I'm not saying stop doing that today. But what I am saying is be open-minded during this presentation, take notes, and try some of this stuff, right? The best time, and this is an Ezra Firestone tip, the best time to be reinvesting and testing things is when you're profitable, right? When you have money to invest, right? When you're generating profits today, it's easy to take 5%, 10% of your profits and reinvest it in something experimental, right? The worst time to do it is when you're losing money, to wait until things stop working, and then you're trying to find new things to work. That is the worst time to retry or to try testing things. And unfortunately, it's what most people do. They push. They run a strategy into the ground, it stops working, and they're like, oh my God, I went from making millions of dollars a month to zero. What do I do? Now I need to try a bunch of things, but those things don't work. I don't have the patience, I don't have the resources, and now I'm screwed. That happens all the time. Okay. So what are some of the problems that we have to deal with as marketers right now? Okay. Problem number one, on Facebook specifically, we are losing more and more targeting options, right? Facebook is making it harder to target our core demographics, our core audiences, right? So we have to get more creative with how we build audiences, how we find the right person for the right offer. Problem number two, engagement is more important than ever, right? So Facebook has changed the relevance score to now a 3-score ranking, a triple ranking system, whatever you're going to call it. It's a, quality, conversion, and engagement. And so one of those is engagement, which means Facebook wants advertisers who are creating advertising experiences that users want to engage with. They want to watch, they want to like, they want to share, right? If you are providing the opposite of that, if you are providing experiences that cause people to leave Facebook or to be frustrated with Facebook, guess what? Facebook is going to penalize you because Facebook is not in the business of losing daily active users, especially not because of an advertiser. And then the third problem, everyone's aware of these, right? Attention spans continue to shrink. Listen, we went in the last decade, not a very long period of time, probably even a shorter window of time, maybe the last 5-6 years, but definitely the last decade. We went from a majority of people, right? I'm going to make, and it's a global audience, not just Americans, but Americans, we kind of lead the way in lazy content consumption. But the majority of people consuming content from their couch, watching a TV, so watching content in 30-minute and 1-hour blocks, to now today, where you have Gen Z consuming content in 5 to 15-second blocks. Think about that. In less than a decade, the average consumer has went from watching a single screen for 30 minutes, an hour, multiple hours at a time on a single channel, to now switching between multiple platforms and consuming content in 5 to 15-second blocks of time. That is massive. That is a huge, huge change, right? And because of that, we as advertisers need to operate in that new normal, which is we only have 2 to 3 seconds to grab somebody's attention. And if we can't do that, doesn't matter how good your funnel is, doesn't matter how good your offer is, doesn't matter how good your copy is. None of that matters on your landing page, your offer, your follow-up, your retargeting, if you cannot get that person to stop in their feed and express interest and put an anchor into them, hook them in. Okay, everyone with me? You're all good right now? Now, these are some scary stats. I promise, last 2 or 3 slides of fear, and then we're going to talk into what do we do about it, right? Because this is what this presentation is about. It's about, hey, how can we actually make more money? How can we actually operate more effectively in the future and win in the future, okay? But we need to understand where we are today to know where we're going in the future. Very, very important. So this stat should scare some people. 92% of consumers visit a brand's website for the first time to do something other than make a purchase. Think about that. Think about that. 100 people go to your e-com store. 92 of those people are going there to do something other than make a purchase, right? And then even the people that go there with the intent of making a purchase, the other 8%, a vast majority of them don't buy on the first visit, right? So that cold traffic strategy of cold traffic to offer, cold traffic to store, you are effectively going after a very, very, very small percent of total clicks, right? It just doesn't make sense anymore. And when asked like why people aren't buying things, why they aren't staying, 35% of shoppers believe brands do a poor or very poor job of customizing the online shopping experience, right? We live in a world where consumers, especially younger consumers, expect experiences to be personalized to them, right? The days of just having generic, bland, vanilla experiences that are the same for a 17-year-old high school girl as a 65-year-old grandfather of 10, those are two very different people. The shopping experience should be different. The language should be personalized. The imagery should be personalized. The funnel should be different, right? And so how do we do that? Well, we do that by interacting with our prospective buyers. We do that by asking them questions, by running quizzes, running polls, surveying them, getting the information, and then using that information to personalize the funnel, personalize the steps that they take after that point in time. And the reason we need to do all this is because we are very, very bad at talking to strangers, right? I recommend, and this is not to plug, I'm not an affiliate for Malcolm Gladwell, or I know he doesn't know who I am in the world. I wish he did. But Malcolm Gladwell's new book, Talking to Strangers, came out in September. Incredible book, absolutely incredible. He was just on Joe Rogan and basically spoke about this book for 2 hours. And basically, I'll get to the heart of it, which is Gladwell looks at all kinds of examples throughout history. He looks at the, Cortez and Montezuma. He looks at Bernie Madoff. He looks at Amanda Knox. He looks at all of these cases throughout history where humans have done a bad job at judging other people. They've made big mistakes, and it's because they assumed they knew the other person. They assumed that even though they were a stranger, that they knew. By looking at them, there was a gut feel. There was kind of alarm bells that went off or didn't go off, and because of that, they made bad decisions, right? So what we need to understand is that the reality is, hey, if you don't know a person, if you don't know them personally, it's very, very difficult for you to make smart decisions about how to handle and treat that person, right? And again, if you don't believe me, read this book. You will read dozens of examples from Sandusky to Hitler to every possible example you could think of in history, all the biggest events in history where people with good intentions approached the situation with another person and totally mishandled it because they assumed they knew them, right? And I'll give you just a quick example and then we'll dive in. Every Allied leader that went to Germany pre-World War II to meet with Hitler in person, every single one of them, Chamberlain, all these people, came back and they reported that, hey, Hitler's just misunderstood. He actually doesn't plan on invading. He really just wants the best for his people, and he's a good guy. And it's because when they met Hitler face to face, Hitler exuded confidence. He approached them and he treated them with respect. He was manipulating them. And because they, fell for it, they went back and said, hey, he's not going to do these things. At the same time, every single person who didn't meet Hitler, but knew about Hitler through, letters and the news and stuff, every single one of them said, this guy is crazy. This guy is going to invade other countries. How does that happen? How do you have all these other people who are just as smart, who don't meet somebody face to face, make the right decision, but people that meet somebody face to face make the wrong decision? It's, again, bad at talking to strangers. And again, this happens time and time and time again. So I know we're not dealing with as extreme examples. You're talking to, building a business, not global warfare, but the underlying pretense is the same, right? That us talking to strangers, consumers, is very important. We need to know them before we can market to them. And now cold traffic at the end of the day is not bad in its own right. Right? The analogy I give, and anybody that could see my office knows I'm a huge comic fan. I'm a huge Marvel and DC fan. I love all things comics. And so the way the analogy I give is, top of funnel cold traffic, where you're driving cold traffic to an offer page, is kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet without any of the stones, right? It gets the job done, right? If Thanos right now teleported into my office and punched me with the Infinity Gauntlet, I would die instantly, right? I would have no chance. It would still do its job of defeating me. However, you have Iron Man with the Iron Gauntlet with all the stones, and he can snap and he can erase an entire army. And all the bad people in the world, he can erase with a single snap and bring all these people back and do all these amazing things, right? That's the difference. Top of funnel interactive content is like the Iron Gauntlet on steroids. Top of funnel cold traffic is like the Infinity Gauntlet with no stones. Okay, everyone with me? Y'all get the analogy there? If you don't, you're one of the few people in the world that hasn't seen Endgame. So, what is it about polls and quizzes and gamification and top of funnel interactive content that makes it so powerful? Well, the first thing is that it helps us build an audience of people who have the problem that your product actually solves, right? What I mean by that is, let's say you walked into an auditorium, right? And let's say you're selling a Facebook ad course for e-commerce entrepreneurs, okay? So you walk into an auditorium and there's 1,000 people in the auditorium, but you have no idea who these people are, right? No idea. Somebody just says, hey, we'd love for you to go in this room and pitch your product. Well, what would the first thing you would do be, right? What would you do first? Well, I'll tell you what I would do first. The first thing I would do is I would get in there and I would ask a question. I would stand on the stage and say, hey, who here has an e-commerce store? And then I would see people raise their hands. Okay, those people. Who here wants to grow their e-commerce store this year with Facebook ads and wants to master that channel so they can supercharge their growth? And then I would see a group of those people raise their hands, keep their hands raised. Okay, so now I know who I'm talking to. Now I don't have to waste time talking to the 800, 900 other people who are relevant. I can talk to the 100 or 200 people who specifically are my target demographic, who have the problem that product solves, right? We can do this online. We can digitally get people to raise their hands by running these top of funnel quizzes and polls that are only relevant and valuable to our target demo, right? Second, we're also building an actual relationship with prospects, right? Typical lead magnets like, an ebook or a webinar, or even just straight sale traffic doesn't build relationships. It just asks. It's, hey, give me your email address, give me your money, and I'll give you this, right? It's very, very one-sided. It's very forced. There's nothing very personal about it. And that's a problem, right? We want to build relationships with people, right? We're in the relationship business as marketers. I know some of you might think, hey, I'm just in the selling business. No. If you want to succeed in the long run, LTV, lifetime value, is the magical number. And you can increase LTV with first-time buyers. You can't build a billion-dollar company off of first-time buyers, right? Look at Disney, look at Apple, look at Microsoft, look at Google, look at Facebook, look at Nike, look at Under Armour. I can go through the list. Coca-Cola. None of those companies are built on first-time buyers, right? They are all built on repeat customers and loyal businesses. Starbucks, their lifetime value, guess what? $14,500 per customer. That is the lifetime value of a Starbucks customer. They sell $5 cups of coffee and their lifetime value is over $14,000, right? Because they build relationships with customers. We're also doing what Facebook wants us to do. Again, back to that relevance score update, engagement, quality. These are things that matter now, right? So we can run ads that aren't just selling. They're focused first on things people want to do, which is they want to take quizzes, they want to answer polls, they want to consume content, right? That's what Facebook users, Instagram users want. They don't want to buy things. If they want to buy things, they go to Amazon, okay, or Google. And then we're also learning a lot more than a traditional lead magnet, right? Again, back to that ebook webinar example. When somebody opts into a webinar, they're telling you your email, name, maybe ask one or two questions, and that's it, right? You're not able to begin to bucket and segment those people into different funnels and different flows. You can do that though with quizzes. You can do that with polls. You can do that with gamification. There's a lot of ways you can do that. Okay, Facebook's pushing this stuff, right? they're pushing interactive ad units. They've been pushing out Instagram stories for a while. Big brands like Dunkin', like AMC. And now they're rolling out video poll ads, right? Actually, I just saw Ezra starting to run these the other day, which is great, seeing him running some of this stuff. We've been testing it for a few weeks now. And by the way, I always make sure to run political stuff when I when I do things with Ezra. No, I don't intentionally do it on just Ezra's events. But Ezra always says, "Man, maybe try to stay away from the politics." And it's tough because one of our big businesses is called Unicorn Politics, and it just is a big business where this stuff really shines. Quizzes and polls. It's where like we get the best results. So just keep in mind, when you see this, Unicorn Politics is a unaffiliated, not one-sided kind of, it's nonpartisan company. So we're a content site and a store. So you're going to see stuff on both sides of the spectrum. Just a little disclaimer there before I dive into things, before people are like, screw this guy, he's a Trump fan. There's no affiliation here. Then there's no support or recommendation or endorsement by any stretch of the imagination. This is purely capitalism and entrepreneurship. Okay, so we got that out of the way. So video poll ads, really new ad unit Facebook just came out with. Some of you may see this in your ads manager, this little box right here when you go to create ads. Now, most of you, when you see this, it's probably grayed out. And that's because there are some very specific restrictions to how you can use this new ad unit, which is pretty typical when Facebook rolls out something new. So I'm going to show you exactly how to set these up and exactly what the restrictions are. But first, let's look at what the interface looks like. So when you click that button, you get this cool little pop-up. And what you notice is down here where the headline and call to action newsfeed description link content usually is, there's now a question and 2 answers. So 2 options that are interactive. So now somebody on their mobile news feed, when they see this ad, they can actually interact with this. They can say yes, they can say no, they can give a specific answer. So it turns this ad unit into an interactive ad unit, which is great. Now, again, remember what I said before. As advertisers and marketers, we want to be thinking about where's the platform going? And the best way to do that is to look at signals. What is Facebook signaling? And usually by releasing new features, Facebook's making some pretty big signals. They're saying, hey, this is stuff we're working on. We're rolling out interactive units for stories. We're rolling out interactive ad units for the full platform. That's saying something, right? And so as marketers, we should figure out how do we use this stuff really effectively, because 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, I guarantee you there will be more of this stuff. It'll be more mainstream, and you're going to want to have proven strategies before that happens. Second tip there, whenever there's a new ad unit, you want to be using it. It doesn't matter what the restrictions are. It doesn't matter what the ad unit is. You want to use it because it stands out and the click-through rates are off the chart, right? Because again, nobody's seeing stuff like this. Nobody's running these ads right now, and it looks different. And so when people are scrolling through their feed, they stop at different. So you get the attention grab really easily. Even if your ad sucks, just having this, you're going to grab attention. So again, we can have 2 choices, and then each one of these choices, we can actually link to a different landing page, a different offer, right? So we can segment out people, we can get them to tell us something about themselves, and then based on that information, we can send them to a more personalized offer, or more personalized landing page, a more personalized lead magnet, right? Just that one question can help increase the personalization of the next step. Then we can also pixel them because we can put pixels on each one of these pages. And so when they click on it, guess what? Put into a custom audience. We can build lookalikes and we can retarget them. And so here's what the flow looks like. You're in your mobile news feed on Facebook. You're scrolling through. Okay, you see this ad. You click one of these buttons. When you click it, it shows the percentage breakdown, and then it pulls up the landing page underneath. And then you can continue scrolling through for the rest of the landing page. Okay, so here are those specs that I was talking about for this ad unit. So it is only available right now for traffic, reach, brand awareness, and app install objectives. So not yet available for the conversion objective, okay? We also need to use a video for the creative. It doesn't work for images yet. It has a maximum of 2 options for each question, so you can't have 3 answers or 4 answers yet. It can include 2 unique URLs. Now, important point here, if you use a URL for one of the options, you need to use a URL for the other one. You can't just use a URL for one option. They both need to have links. And then the last thing is the only placement available is Facebook mobile newsfeed right now. I've had a few people message me back saying, "Hey Max, I went to go preview this, but it didn't show up in the preview. Is it broken?" I was like, "No, you're previewing it on desktop, and it doesn't work on desktop yet. It's not available there." So those are the specs. And again, like anything new Facebook rolls out, these will evolve in kind of the near future, and I imagine conversions are coming soon. Okay. Now, one of the big reasons why we're really focused on interactive content, on quizzes and polls and great top of funnel kind of channels and strategies, it's because we've shifted our mindset as a company away from one-time offers to building actual assets. I think this is going to be one of the biggest trends of 2020 and beyond is entrepreneurs, affiliate marketers, business owners, anybody that's watching this focusing on asset development over offer development. So what do I mean by that? Okay. So the typical affiliate marketer or, offer marketer right now is basically a bounty hunter, a gun for hire, right? They find an offer that looks good. They run traffic for that offer. So they send cold traffic from Facebook or Google or wherever, native, Pinterest, Snap, Twitter. They send it to a landing page that's owned by somebody else. When somebody buys, that person then pays them money, a CPA or a CPL, right? And they do that hundreds, thousands of times a day for weeks or months. And then eventually the offer dies, something happens. And guess what? That person who's running the traffic is now back to square one. They're back to finding another offer to run traffic for. And they do it again and again and again. And their income is volatile. Their business is volatile because there's no foundation being built. There's nothing that's consistently being built over time. So what we decided to do is, hey, instead of just running finance offers or survival offers or political offers, let's build actual entities that the leads and traffic can flow through first. And then on the other side, we can then route to the different offers and monetize different ways. So that's what we're doing. So we've built, Unicorn Politics, for example. And so what we're doing now is we're creating, our own polls, our own quizzes. So for example, this one, who has your vote in 2020? We have quizzes, or polls. Should Trump return us to the gold standard? Do you think the government's spying on you? We have all these different polls and quizzes. And then we have people with offers that we plug into the right ones in the back end. So for example, the gold one, there's a gold IRA company that pays out $15 per lead. Well, sure, we could just drive traffic directly to their landing page and get $15 a lead. But again, we're not building our asset. So what we did instead is we created an on-brand poll. Do you think Donald Trump should return us to the gold standard? And that's where we drove traffic to. So over here, that's where the poll quiz is. Comes in there. And then after that first question, then we ask a bunch of questions about gold. Hey, by the way, are you invested in gold? Do you have an IRA, a pension, a 401k? We ask a bunch of questions. And then at the end of it, we have a special offer for the gold IRA company. So what's happening is because we're co-sponsoring the poll, we're getting paid to acquire the lead, but we're acquiring the lead for our own brand, under our own brand first. So guess what we can do now? Tomorrow, next week, next month, we can send that lead another poll. We can send them to a store. We can send them to, a newsletter that's sponsored. We can now monetize that lead multiple times over days, weeks, months, and years. And then we could also at some point sell this store. We could sell this site for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, right? So we're actually building an asset. We're actually building something that can be monetized more than once. This is how I want everyone watching this start thinking. Start thinking bigger. Start thinking 1 year out, 3 years out, 5 years out. Don't just think about the cash today, because that short-sighted thinking can be a huge, huge risk for your business. So you need to de-lever, de-risk your business and think big picture. And using quizzes and polls and contests and chatbots is a great way to do that. Because again, at the top of it, you can make it relevant to your entity, your media store, your e-com store, your media site, your brand. And then you have offers that are tied in, that are personalized in the back end, or even your own products that are personalized in the back end. I'm going to show you some examples of those coming up. Okay, so let's look at, we're going to look at two quizzes right now. We're going to look at one quiz that's for a product offer. We're going to look at one quiz that's for higher ticket, that's a lead gen focused. All right, everyone with me? Guys good? Okay, cool. And I don't know why I'm so programmed to ask questions like that, even though I cannot hear you or see you. But I feel better just knowing that you're saying it to your screen and I'm talking to my screen, and we're both acting a little crazy or looking a little crazy together. So that's what I'm doing it for. Okay. So we had collectible coins for Trump fans, right? And we also have them for Democrats and on the left and on the right. But on the right, we found people are buying a lot more stuff. So we wanted to isolate Trump's most hardcore supporters, right? That's who we want to sell products to, right? That's who if you're selling any product in any niche, you want to go after the most hardcore, passionate people. Well, how do you identify those people? Well, you could, obviously run an ad that says, hey, here's a product for Trump superfans. That's pretty lame, pretty boring, and anybody can say they're a superfan. But we want to push somebody. We want to really figure out if they're a real superfan. So what we did is we put together a Trump superfan quiz. And we ran these ads for it, right? Now, what's great about these ads, and what you'll notice is when you're running ads for quizzes and polls and gamification and all that good stuff, you don't have to include products in it, right? And simply the act of including a product in your ad imagery or video dramatically decreases click-through rates. Most people they're like, hey, I don't want to buy anything, I'm gone, right? So instead, we can focus on entertainment, engagement, value. We can focus on creating ads that people really want to engage with, that fit what they're seeing on a regular basis inside their feed. In a little bit, we're going to talk about how we find good hooks and how we do research and all that good stuff. So again, all of these ads, we're using images that people are used to seeing. They're viral type images. They're images in news stories. People, they see these and they pay attention to them if they're a Trump fan, right? This Make America Great Again hat, like blurred out face image. People stop on this stuff. And then we're also getting them used to asking questions or answering questions because we're including the first question in the ad copy. So we're making the ad itself fun. We're asking questions that incentivize comments. It's really kind of the perfect type of ad for top of funnel. Now, quick kind of pro tip here. If you're running a funnel and step one is some type of opt-in or lead gen, and this is true for everything, not just interactive content. If you're doing a webinar funnel, and at the end of that funnel, the end goal is to sell something, I recommend always optimizing for purchases, not for leads. What ends up happening is what you see here. So on the right, we were optimizing for lead. And look, we got 26 cents leads. We got 40,000 leads at 26 cents. Pretty good. But our cost per purchase was $237. That's terrible. That's absolutely garbage. So we switched it. And what you notice here, these are the exact same ads, exact same audiences. Nothing changed except for the optimization. Our cost per purchase went from $237 to $14. That is a massive drop. Meanwhile, our cost per lead, it went up to 40 cents, but we don't care about that. What we care about is buyers. We want people that are going to buy our product, right? So I'd rather pay more for higher quality leads. So there's a quick little pro tip there. Okay. So here's the lander. We use Outgrow. Again, I'm not going to include an affiliate link or anything in here, so I'm not making any money for recommending Outgrow. It's just the platform we use. There's also plenty of other tools out there. Lead quizzes, Bucket.io, a lot of great tools. Outgrow just is the one we like. So they then answer 18 questions. We have 18 really good questions that go from very easy to very hard. At the end of that quiz, we then give people different offers based on their scores. Okay. So if somebody scored decently, but not really great, we then send them to like this coin, which is a free coin. So we do a free plus shipping. So this is the offer they get to. So special offer. Hey, get your free Trump Keep America Great Again coin before we sell it again. Now only $39.95 free. Check your free coin eligibility. This was a huge. Doing this was a big conversion booster for us. So when they click this, there's a pop-up that has 3 questions on it that they got to check they agree with, or statements. Basically like, hey, do you believe Trump has made America great again? Do you believe America's the greatest country in the world? Are you going to vote for Trump in 2020? And we make them if they don't check all 3, they don't get to go to the coin. So what we're doing is we're continuing to vet the person to make sure they really are the hardcore supporter. And we're also making it seem like, hey, this is very exclusive. We're not letting just anybody in here. You need to believe all these things. And the cool thing too with these coins is we actually do make them limited edition. So we do make them in limited batches. So if you're watching this, like, hey, that's BS, the free coin eligibility and all that stuff. Like, no, we actually do use real scarcity, not fake scarcity. So that's just a quick little tip. Don't use fake scarcity. Use real scarcity. Way more effective and way more scalable over the long run. However, what we did also is most people just do a free plus shipping funnel. So everyone gets the same offer. Now, the downside to that is there are always going to be people in that audience that are willing to pay full price, right? So why would we sell everyone the same offer when a percentage of those people would be willing to pay us $30 for the same coin? The short answer is you shouldn't. So what we do is, hey, if they got a perfect score on that quiz or a really high score, we send them to this offer instead. Because this offer is like, hey, listen, if you're that big of a Trump fan, if you got a perfect score and you know your stuff, like you're probably going to collect all this stuff. You're probably going to spend more money than the average kind of, not as serious Trump fan. So we want to monetize those people differently. We're going to treat them differently because they are different, right? Crazy. I know it's a crazy thought here that we're going to treat people differently and give people different offers based on who they are. But that should be marketing, right? Personalization. Learn and personalize. Learn and adapt. Okay. So think about how you can incorporate this in your business. Think about how you could use a quiz, a superfan quiz, or a test your knowledge quiz to learn about the lead, and based on how well they score, route them to different offers of different price points, right? So you can more effectively monetize these new leads coming into your business. So on top of that, then we're segmenting and personalizing, right? So we use Drip for our email marketing, for our media and content sites. We use Klaviyo for ecom. So we use two platforms. So with Drip, when they come in, we're able to pass all the answers from the quiz into Drip. So we can then segment them and route them to different workflows based on what quiz they took, what answers they gave, what information they gave us. We can also create custom audiences in Facebook based on that for retargeting. So we're really able to make granular follow-up sequences, hyper-personalized follow-up sequences, not just in a single channel, but omni-channel across Facebook and Instagram and email and SMS and Messenger. And then the retargeting is personalized, right? So, hey, somebody that said they're voting for Trump, they got a perfect score on the quiz, and they said they love Trump collectibles, guess what? They're going to get our Thanksgiving coin, right? Somebody that didn't say this stuff, we're probably not going to present them with more collectibles. We might send them more content. We might focus on the newsletter, for example. Okay. So then we have our general store here, right? So at the end of the day, we want to have a place everyone can go, a place that we can sell multiple products and kind of open up that customer lifetime value. So I recommend if you have some type of offer, some type of content site, to also build a corresponding store that you can bring in products to maximize lifetime value. Okay, so we have about 8 more minutes left, so I'm going to try to hustle through the rest of this stuff. We might run a little bit over, but bear with me. So how do we find new angles for quizzes and polls? Because the angle, meaning the first question, that's kind of hook, is so critical for really making a poll or quiz work versus not work. So what we do is we look at, okay, what's our target audience? And then what is our target audience like to consume on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the social channels, content-wise? What media companies do they follow? What influencers do they follow? What brands do they follow? So for our audience on the Trump side, we look at something like the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, probably one of the biggest players in the space. We go to his Facebook page and we look through all the posts. And we look at what type of posts are they writing? Is it long form, short form, memes, videos, images, story based, not story based? Like we're looking at all these things, all these little differentiators. And then we're seeing which stories, what current events, what news stories are really trending, what are getting the most likes, the most comments, the most shares. And then we're using these things as a list of ideas. And then we're moving them kind of step 2, which is where we test the hook. So then every week we're posting, 4, 6, 8 times on our page with posts like the one on the left. And we're testing these hooks, right? We're testing these questions before we build out a dedicated poll or quiz for them. And then we're putting, $20, $30 behind it in page post engagement. And we're looking for a few metrics. We're looking for a 1% share ratio. So at least a 1% share ratio, meaning if 100 people see the post, does at least one person share the post? If not, back to the drawing board, we test another thing. Does our cost per comment range from 5 cents to 25, 30, 40 cents? If not, go back to the drawing board, right? So you can see here, like we've tested a bunch, and this one crushed it. Capitalism for socialism. This is back when AOC was like blowing up and everything, and this just crushed it. So guess what? We built out a dedicated quiz, dedicated poll specifically for this with specific offers on the back end of it. And then lastly, when we find a quiz or a poll that crushes it, once we found the angle, once we've built it, once we've run traffic to it, and we're like, hey, this is working. Our CPLs are really strong. This is looking very promising. Then we're replicating it in Messenger. Because Messenger, we're getting significantly higher open rates, significantly higher click-through rates. And so we know if we can get even the same cost per lead plus or minus even 100%, we can make a lot more money with Messenger because the click-through rates are 5, 10, 15 X higher than email. So we're coming in here, we're using the ManyChat growth tool widget to basically build out a really, really basic landing page. And we're pixeling it and we're creating a custom conversion. And then we're driving ads to this landing page optimized for that specific lead event on that specific custom conversion. And then this is what a flow looks like, right? So nothing crazy, right? It's just, hey, here's a GIF, here's a question, here's 3 options. Based on the option you click, we tag you. You go to another post, another response, and then the same thing. Then the same thing. We just basically take the exact poll and quiz flow and we just build it in Messenger, right? And again, we're learning a lot about our Messenger list. We're able to put them into the right workflows, right automation flows, and send them the right offers. And again, here, the click-through rates are so much higher. The open rates are so much higher than they were with email. Okay. We might actually end on time, which is pretty impressive. So we got one more quiz that I want to show you for a lead gen quiz, right? So let's say you're selling something higher ticket. Let's say you're selling an info product, which is what we're doing right here. So for our paid traffic training program, right? Well, we have a lot of different demographics we can go after, a lot of different audiences that our program is valuable for. But we can't just treat them all the same. We can't just drive all traffic, all marketing traffic, marketer related traffic into a single funnel with a single landing page. Because all those people, somebody that's running a local brick and mortar store versus somebody running a high ticket coaching business that's already successful. Very different needs, very different challenges. They're looking for different things in a program. So we can't market to them the same. How do we address that? Well, we create a quiz. So here's our Black Friday, Cyber Monday quiz. We basically turned a guide. I put together like a 25-step guide on how to crush Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And I just turned it into a quiz by basically turning each point into like a question instead of a statement, right? Like, do you agree with this? Or is true or false? And I put a statement, right? Really easy way to repurpose content. So, hey, is your e-commerce store ready to generate record profits this Black Friday and Cyber Monday? Now, the great thing about this is the only people who are going to even click this ad, let alone start the quiz, are telling me, hey, we're e-commerce entrepreneurs who are looking to crush Black Friday, right? They're telling me a lot just by clicking on it. So then they come in, and I have, I think, like 20 questions in here. I forget how many questions I put in, 20, 23 questions. And each one of these questions is telling me something about this person. I'm learning about them, right? Every single question is carefully crafted so I can build out a more robust profile on this prospective customer. So when they get to the offer page, right? And this is actually a training. So when they get to the training, which is kind of a hybrid sales page, this can be personalized, right? So somebody, for example, that is a brand new e-commerce marketer, brand new e-commerce entrepreneur that is barely making anything online, has no experience with Facebook ads, I can have a different headline. I can have different UGC, different testimonials, different value propositions, even a different video potentially here versus somebody who's running a 9-figure e-commerce store that's already managing millions of dollars a month. Those are wildly different people. And I can have now a different page for those two different groups of people. I can have a different page for 10, 20 different groups of people by keeping the same template and modifying, 10, 15% of that page for each demographic, each audience. That dramatically increases conversion rates. So if you're looking to increase conversion rates this season, this holiday season, 2020, this is one of the easiest ways to do that. Personalize your landing page, personalize your e-commerce store, and do it with the data you're collecting from your quizzes, from your polls. I guarantee you, I don't make a lot of guarantees, but I guarantee you, if you even do it like a fraction of this, you will see dramatic increases in conversion rates, dramatic increases in profitability and your paid traffic. And hopefully you can come back to me in a few months and in a year and be like, hey Max, I implemented this stuff and it's absolutely crushing. I would love to hear those stories. So if you want to share those stories with me, here's a few places that you can follow me. You can join our group. This is all free stuff, not selling anything, no pitches. But I would love for you to reach out to me. I'd love for you to follow me, friend me, join our group so I can get to meet you, learn a little more about you, and hear about all your successes. Thank you so much for paying attention, for bearing with me. I hope you learned a lot. And if there's anything, any question, any follow-up that I can answer for you, do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can just shoot me a message on Facebook, or you can join our Facebook group and just tag me in there, and I will make sure to check that and follow up with you. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your month. Have a great holiday season. I hope you made tons and tons of money Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Thanks, guys.